The shift begins with a number, not sunrise. Not a manager's hello, a number. It glows on a handheld scanner. It stares from a wall of dashboards. It whispers from the phone on your desk. It counts, it ranks, it compares. Beep. And just like that, you re-inside a place where the day dose and tea begin. With a breath, it begins with a target. When I first walked into one of these rooms, it felt like stepping into a cathedral built to worship efficiency. The hymns were alerts. The stained glass was spreadsheets. People moved like dancers who didn't choose the choreography, stitched into a tempo set somewhere far away. Maya works in a warehouse. She moves quickly, hands finding items by muscle memory, body tracking the nearest shelf like she's learned the building's heartbeat. She can hit 300 picks an hour on a good day. Her screen says 280. A red arrow appears. It's not angry, not really, just red. Just a signal that enough of these and you'll be called in. Everyone knows the code. Time off task. That's the official phrase for anything that isn't the work stretching a bathroom break. The seconds your mind needs to climb back into your body. In rooms like this, we call breaks time off task, because the task is the story and everything else is interruption. Beep. Investigations have shown what people already whisper. When quotas climb and tempo hardens, injuries climb too, because speed and precision have a breaking point. It's not a moral failing, it's physics. Flesh doesn't always keep up with the metrics. In another city, Aisha works in a call center. Her headset clicks on, and she's in a sea of voices, each one struggling with something. A bill, a broken line, a tangle of policy that never met the person it governs. Aisha excels at empathy. She listens all the way down, but her dashboard blinks. Average handle time, 4 minutes. Hit the mark, or the coaching starts. She hears her caller, S voice. Shaky S, just lost his father, and somewhere in the background her timer turns a soft, patient yellow. Too long. The company defines silence as dead air. In Aisha's life, silence is where people find the words they're afraid to say out loud. We call this productivity, but listen closely. If you're only measuring speed, it's not productivity, it's pace. It's the difference between finishing a conversation and actually helping a person. The number doesn't care. That's not its job. Numbers aren't good or bad. They're obedient. They do exactly what we ask of them, which is why we should be careful what we ask. There's an old idea in economics with a deceptively simple name, Goodhart's Law. It says, when a measure becomes a target, it stops being a good measure. We make a number so important that people bend their day around hitting it, and gradually, quietly, the number begins to replace the thing it was supposed to represent. You wanted quality? You got speed. You wanted creativity? You got more slides. You wanted care? You got customer satisfaction surveys that punish the nurse who doesn't smile while sprinting. Jorge is a nurse. He knows all the codes, the soft alarms. He can chart with his eyes closed. The hospital tracks length of stay, door-to-dock time, bed turnover. These numbers aren't monsters, they're attempts to save more lives with the time we have. But on a crowded night, a patient's son asks him, "Can you just stay for one more minute?" In his head, he's counting rooms, medications due, the avalanche of tasks that will multiply if he stops. So he sits for exactly 60 seconds. The boy starts to cry at 23. At 59, the pump down the hall alarms. Jorge gets up. He will go home later wondering which number matters most, the one he hit or the one he carried out the door like a stone. Psychologists like Christina Maslach, who've spent decades studying burnout, say it isn't a weakness in a person. It's a mismatch between what humans need and what their work demands. When the ledger is always measuring what can be counted, people start to feel like the part of them that can be counted doesn't exist. Exhaustion follows. Then cynicism. Then a quiet grief for the days when your work felt like a gift instead of a scoreboard. Tech gave these places their mirrors. Software can now track your keystrokes, your clicks, the moments your cursor stops moving. The industry has a name for it, algorithmic management, but all that means is the rules aren't just human now. The quota is a piece of code. The coach is a notification. The boss is an invisible benchmark hissing in your ear. This sounds like a story about villains. It's not. It's a story about choices. Because the strangest twist is that numbers can also be the handrails that keep us safe. A speed limit is a number. A living wage is a number. In healthcare, studies have found that better nurse-to-patient ratios save lives. That's a number that honors a person. In factories, when leaders measure safety before speed, safety first, really first injuries go down, and, over time, so do costs. Which suggests the problem isn't numbers, it's forgetting what they're for. There are leaders who've tried small rebellions. A manufacturing plant turned off its real-time leaderboard for 1 hour each day and asked workers to set the pace together. Errors fell. A call center switched its primary metric from call length to first call resolution. Did we actually solve the problem? And discovered that longer calls today meant fewer calls tomorrow. In both cases, something human came back into the room. A sense that the point of the work was the work, not the scoreboard above it. There's another piece of research, from Teresa Amabule and Stephen Kramer, called the progress principle. They found that what makes people feel alive at work isn't applause or pressure. It's making meaningful progress in something that matters. Not a perfect day, just a real step forward. Imagine if our dashboards showed that. Imagine if the biggest number on the wall wasn't units per hour, but problems meaningfully solved. The room would feel different, even if the lights didn't change. When I started making this film, I thought I was documenting their culture warehouses, call centers, hospitals, but look down. We wear our own dashboards on our wrists. We chase steps, streaks, likes. We refresh a view count until it tells us we exist. The same logic lives in our pockets. Measure, compare, accelerate. It's hard to ask a company to remember its human when I am measuring my own life like a spreadsheet. So here's the question that keeps circling back. What do we do with a number? If we must have them and we must how? Do we make them serve the story instead of replacing it? Maybe we start by asking better questions. Not how many, but who. Who was helped? Who was heard? Who was safe? A number can't hold a person, but it can point us to where the people are. Ask teams what they wish the company measured, and you'll hear things like time to learn, time to rest, time to think. The most productive hours of a week are often the ones management can TC. When someone teaches a colleague a trick that saves them 10 minutes every day. When a worker notices a pattern that prevents a costly mistake. When a customer treated like a human becomes an advocate for life. Inside workplaces where numbers matter more than people, the brave act isn't smashing the scoreboard. It's telling the truth about what it can't see, and then choosing, deliberately, what it will see next. The measure is a map. The map is not the place. Walk the floor. Listen to the room. If the numbers and the people disagree, believe the people, then change the numbers. At the end of Maya's shift, her screen finally turns green. She did it. She met the rate. She also taught the new kid 3 ways to lift without hurting his back. No dashboard blinked for that. Aisha ended a call over the target time, but the man she spoke to called back the next day not to complain, but to say thank you Bika. She helped him close his father's account without making him explain his grief twice. No bonus was tied to that. Jorge's 60 seconds with the boy. No KPI, but a week later, the boy learned the pump's alarm sound and pressed the call button before it escalated. He and Jorge nod to each other in the hallway. There's no metric for that kind of knowing. Maybe the revolution isn't a grand gesture. Maybe it's a quiet shift in what we choose to count and what we refuse to forget. Thank you very much for watching the video to the end. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like and comment to share your opinion. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video with your friends. See you in the next video. Be well.